everyone. All right, I am going to do some Kirby questions while I'm working on my Kirby WIP. So this is in Mythomorphia, and I'm doing it using the charcoal grey Inktense and my Copic alcohol blender, colourless alcohol blender, to blend the colours, to blend the ink out. Okay, so my plan for this is obviously to make it monochromatic, so I'm using the one colour in the Inktense, and I'm going to go back in once that's done and darken up the shadows and stuff like that. So background wise, I haven't decided if I want to go all black with stars and paint splatters and stuff like that, or if I want to do a bright colour. I haven't decided yet, so that's why I haven't done it. Normally I do my backgrounds first, so this is different for me. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to answer 8 questions today that I've come up with for a bit of a Kirby tag. Yeah, I find it hard sometimes when I don't have things to talk about, so I've got a couple of tag videos planned for today, which will give me some stuff to talk about, and you guys get to know me a bit better as well, so it works out well. Okay, so the first question was, when did you first discover Kirby's books? Okay, so I started colouring in 2015 when the craze first launched. I was colouring in originally Johanna Basford's books at the time, because she had just released Enchanted Forest, I think it was her first one. So I was madly colouring in that one and became addicted very quickly. So I from there went on one of our local bookshop thingies in Australia called Booktopia, and just typed in adult colouring books, I think it was, and it came up with Kirby's book Untitled, and I went, oh my gosh, this thing is really cool. So I ordered that, but prior to receiving that, I had gone on Instagram, I don't even remember. No, maybe it was a colouring group on Facebook, and someone had actually coloured in his Doodle Mania book, I think it was, and fell in love with that. I thought, oh my god, these creatures are so bloody cute. So I had ordered that from Amazon, and that actually arrived before Mythomorphia did, and yeah, as soon as it arrived, I fell in love. I remember my husband coming out into the lounge room one night and went, what are you colouring? Because he saw the Doodle thingy book and went, what are you colouring? Like, he was quite amused that the book was named that. And I had to explain for some reason, doodling is drawing, blah, blah, blah. And he got it after that, but a bit of a blank moment, I think. So yeah, and then Mythomorphia came and fell in love with that. So yeah. So next question was, how many Kirby books do you own? I own all of them except for Mythomorphia and what's the other one? There's another one that's like a mashup of all of the other books. So I don't own those mashups because I've already got all of his standard books. So I didn't feel the need to buy the mashup ones. Maybe in the future I will, just so I've got extra, doubles of those ones that I've already done. But right now I don't feel the need for it. So yeah. Next question is, sorry, let me just finish that bit. Which was the first Kirby book you got? So I kind of answered that along with the first one, which was, when did you discover them? So back in 2015, I had ordered Mythomorphia and Doodle Mania. So those were my 2 first ones. What is your favourite Kirby book and why? So at the moment, my favourite one is this, Mythomorphia. I love it. I really enjoy this book. This is the book that I have picked to finish this year. So I'm 6 months in, and I don't even think I'm halfway through it, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, I find the pictures are a good balance with detail. So they're not over the top, but they're not lacking either. I just, you know, like this page, for example, it's got your main image and then I can throw whatever background I want at it. Whereas then there's some pages like, I think it's the forest one or the sea one, for example, where there's a lot of detail. So it kind of covers both moods for me, depending on what I'm interested in doing. Yeah, so that's why it's my favorite. I think it's just, yeah, pardon me, a good variety. Next question, which is your least favorite Kirby book and why? My least favorite, now that I'm more into his latest pictures, because they don't have as many doodles and random things in them, I would probably have to say his latest work is better. So least favorite, pardon me, probably now, where I am now, would have to be like Mythomorphia, because of those little creatures. I find it hard to kind of get them to look good, I guess, with the color schemes and things that you choose, because they are kind of, you know, random. They're not themed to that picture. Yeah, they're literally doodles, like they're just random things. So I do find that harder, I think, to color, because you have to kind of account for those different colors and things. Excuse me for a second. Whereas when you've got an image, I guess like his newer ones, where it's mainly there's a theme of the page, but it doesn't have all these like little doodles in it. Even Mythomorphia, I find, is better. It still has a little doodles like this here, and like the clouds and stuff, which are his signatures, and the card and stuff, but you can kind of hide it, if that makes sense. Whereas Mythomorphia, there was not really no hiding those little doodles. Like they were there, they were in your face, and that was great. Like you can obviously see there's an evolution with his art as well. He's obviously evolved and changed as an artist, which is awesome, as we've gone through the books. Yeah, I just find that those doodles are probably going to be my least favorite now, whereas back when that was first released, I loved it. Like, yeah, thought it was great. I think because his style was so different to anything else that was out there as well, it was intriguing, I guess, to color in it. So yeah, I'd find that's probably my least favorite. All right, next question. Let me just get in that little space. So yeah, when I'm doing this too, I'm working from dark to light when I'm putting the color in. So I'm going heavy in the middle and then dragging it out to the outer. But when I'm going in with my alcohol marker, I'm coming in from the lightest point to the darkest point. That way I'm not dragging those colors into that darker area, into the lighter area, sorry. And it's going to keep that color lighter on those tips. All right, so next question, let me just finish that little feather. Next question is, what was the first Kirby picture that you colored? Okay, so actually let me get them and I'll show you. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so in Doodle Mania, that's another book I've got, silly me. Doodle Invasion, which is a Zifflin's colouring book, and it is Amazon printed. So this was the first one I did in this book, and that was using Crayola, just the cheapo Crayola pencils, and some glitter gel pens to give it some highlights in there, and those little dudes. That was fun. I love this book so much. Actually, I might do a video doing one of these. They're fun as. So that was in Doodle Invasion. So that was the first one I coloured in that. And in Anamorphia, my first one, which I've showed you in my completed Kirby pages, was these two. Completely not my style anymore. I don't like how their fur looks. I don't like seeing white. But yeah, I like looking back and seeing where you come from. It's interesting. So those were my first two pictures that I coloured, and they were both using the cheap Crayola pencils. Actually, it might not even been Crayola. It might have been Faber-Castell. It was either Crayola or Faber-Castell, either one. But they were like the ones that you get at, you know, supermarket or in the kids' colouring area. I enjoyed colouring with them actually back then. There was heaps of colour choices, so I didn't mind them. The only thing I didn't like about them was that they hurt my hand, because you do have to put pressure down or build layers to get that colour that you would get using your good pencils. It's a lot harder tip, a lot harder core. Okay, let me just do this one and I'll have a look at the next question. So yeah, as I said, I'm coming through and activating the Intense with my alcohol marker. Okay, next question. Which Kirby page do you find the most intimidating and why? Okay, so the one I probably find the most intimidating, well, the one I found the most intimidating so far, oh, I don't even know. Ones that I've done. Probably the book I find the most intimidating is probably the animal one. What's it called? Fragile World. Only because it's colouring more realistically. You know, you're colouring fur and things like that, which I suck at. So for me, I think that's probably a harder skill to master. But page-wise, it's one that I've done that's been hard or intimidating. Probably the most overwhelming, I guess, probably intimidating, is probably something like this, where there's a lot going on. So yes, I can see the dragon, but then you've also got little things happening all the way around the page. It's not just, you know, it's not just the like there's lanterns, there's fish, there's, I don't even know what down here, and there's something over here, and there's something over here, and there's something up here, and there's a fan, and there's a little temple up here. So probably in this book, this page, and again, Fragile World as a whole, I find intimidating simply because it's colouring more realistically. So using realistic colours, colouring fur, colouring feathers, things like that, is probably the most intimidating for me. Otherwise, there was probably the other one is something like this, where you've got snow. I feel like to make it look interesting, I'm going to have to bring other colours into that snow as like reflections and things, but knowing what colours to use freaks me out because I feel like I'm going to stuff it. So I guess those two are probably the most intimidating pages for me. And then, yeah, the Fragile World as the most intimidating book. The next one is, what supplies do you like to use in Kirby's books? I use a couple of things. I like using the Intense as bases. The paper stands up really well to either water or the alcohol ink, which is really nice. But it also lays down really smoothly as well. I use both Prismacolor and Polychromos in the book. I don't have an issue with either of them. So it's not something that I find like where I'd have to pick one or the other. They both work really well, so I use both of those. I also use what's the other stuff that I use? Oh, my brain's blank today. Neo 2s for the backgrounds. I love using Neo 2s. Again, I don't have any issues with the water going down onto the paper to activate those. I haven't had an issue. Obviously, if you add too much, you're going to get a bit of crinkling, but I don't mind that anyway, so that's not an issue for me. What else do I use? Oh, I've used water-based markers to base as well, and haven't had an issue with those either. And then going back over with pencil, it seems to be fine. Haven't had any issues with that either. Yeah. So that was the 8 questions for Kirby Tag. Yeah, just a nice quick one today while I'm working on my Kirby page. What do you guys think for the background? Should I go black and do like, ink splatter, white ink splatters and acrylic ink splatters and stuff like that with white? Maybe add in like some shimmer, some sparkles, I don't know. Or go bright colors, like come in with my inks and do like an ink background. I'm not too sure yet. Yeah, not sure. Anyway, guys, nice quick one for today. I just wanted to get a little bit done on this and answer a couple of questions so you can get to know me a little bit more, since I do love working in Kirby's books, and I do probably post mostly Kirby stuff on my channel. Yeah. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Catch us later.